It's 11 at night, you're exhausted. You've closed the laptop, sat down on the sofa, and the second your body lands, your hand is already moving to your phone. You weren't planning to pick it up, you don't even particularly want to pick it up. You've been on screens for the last 12 hours. But there it is, the small pull before you've consciously chosen anything. One more thing, just a quick check. Why is it that the moment you actually have permission to rest, you reach for the thing that stops you resting? Most people I work with run into the same kind of patterns. They want to rest properly. They book the holidays, they protect the weekends, they tell themselves this time they're going to actually switch off. And then somehow they don't. The phone comes back out, the work creeps back in, the Sunday afternoon disappears into something useful. And by Monday, they are more tired than they were on Friday. If that's you, you've probably told yourself you just need to be more disciplined about it. You need a better holiday, you need a longer holiday, you need a phone-free holiday. You need to learn how to rest the way other people seem to be able to. But that's not the problem. The problem is that the part of you that wants to rest and the part of you that runs your body are not the same parts. And when those two come into conflict, the body wins every time. Until you understand why your body keeps overriding what you actually want, no amount of holiday or sleep tracking or trying harder is going to land. A few years ago, I worked with the founder. He built a company from nothing, sold part of it, still running that part, married, 2 kids, the kind of person whose life looked from the outside like it had worked out the way that you might want it to. But he came to me because his wife had told him very gently that he wasn't really there. He was in the room, but he wasn't in the room. Phone in his pocket at dinner, eyes drifting to his laptop on weekends, always half listening to her, and then half somewhere else. He'd heard it from her before, but this time he actually listened. So he booked a holiday, 2 weeks, family, beach, the whole thing. He committed to leaving his laptop at home, no work calls, no email. He told his team that he was going to be gone. Don't reach for me unless something completely drastic happens. And then on day 3, he got the flu. Fever, body aches, 2 days in bed in a dark hotel room, while his family went to the beach without him. When he came back, he didn't think it was bad luck. He told me this was the 3rd time in 5 years it had happened. Every single time he tried to properly stop, his body found a way to make him stop in a way that he could not control, as if the only kind of rest his system would accept was the kind that came with a really hot temperature. And here's the part that bothered him most. He wanted to be on that holiday. He wanted to be at dinner with his wife. He wanted to be present with his kids on the beach. He didn't think there was anything in him choosing the laptop or the work. And yet every time he sat down to actually rest, something he couldn't name took over. The hand reached, the mind drifted, the body found a reason to be busy. By day 3, he had given up trying to fight it, and his body finally made the decision for him. What he was describing isn't really about him. It's about a particular shape of a person, a particular relationship between the body and stillness that I see in so many people that I work with. To understand why your body keeps overriding what you consciously say you want, you have to understand something about how the nervous system encodes safety. Most of us assume safety is felt as calm, stillness, slowness, ease. That's how we describe it in language. I feel safe sounds like I feel relaxed. But the nervous system doesn't actually work that way. It encodes safety through repetition. Whatever state you spent the most time in growing up, whatever you were rewarded for, whatever got you approval, that is the state your system reads as safe. For a lot of accomplished people, the state that got encoded as safe was being in motion, productivity, doing, being useful, being a little bit ahead. Your body learned very early that moving fast meant being approved of and being all right, getting more love. And it learned just as early that slowing down meant something else entirely. being overlooked, being a burden, being not enough. So when you stop decades later, your nervous system doesn't read it as rest. It reads it as the conditions for not being safe. That right there is the mismatch. It's not that you don't really want to rest, you do, but when you actually sit down to do it, the system you're operating in reads the conditions of rest as the conditions of not being okay, and it fires the same response it would fire as if there were a real life threat in your life. Cortisol rises, your chest tightens, your hands reach for whatever's nearby, the phone, the laptop, the next task. Move, do something, get back to safe. The pull towards the phone at 11 at night is not laziness or weakness or a failure of discipline. It is a survival reflex. This is a pattern, not a personality trait, not who you are, not how you're built. And patterns can shift, but only when you actually see them for what they are. Here's what this costs you. Not productivity. The people I work with are usually getting more done than anyone else around them. That is not where this cost shows up. The cost shows up in the dinner you're at, but you're not really there at all. In the conversation with your partner that you can't quite be in because half of you is already somewhere else entirely. In the bedtime story that you're reading to your child while part of you is in tomorrow's meeting. It shows up most in the moments that you've actually been working towards. You finally hit the thing you've been working towards. The funding closes, you get the client, the deal goes through, the promotion lands, and there's about 45 seconds of yes, and then your system is already pulling you towards the next thing, motion. You can't be there for the moment you've spent 10 years building. The body that won't let you rest also won't let you celebrate and arrive. That is the real loss, not output, but presence. The capacity to actually be and experience your own life. A lot of accomplished people sense this and they push it away because if you let yourself sit with it for too long, it becomes very hard to keep going at the pace you've been keeping. I'm not asking you to push it away today. I'm not going to pretend that there is a quick fix to this. But there is a way through, and it's the work I do every day with people. Not instant, but it isn't something you can solve by reading the right article or downloading the right app. The pattern took decades to build, and it takes real work and energy to shift it. But there's a place to start, and it's worth understanding what you're actually working with. Underneath the inability to slow down, there's almost always a subconscious belief that's been running for a very long time. And it usually sounds something like, my value comes from what I do, or if I stop, I'll fall behind and falling behind isn't safe, or I have to earn my rest and I'm not done earning it yet. Those beliefs didn't arrive in adulthood. They got installed early, often before the age of 7, when the brain is in a much more absorbent state and it's taking in all the rules of the environment without filtering for what's really true. Maybe you grew up in a home where rest was treated with suspicion. Maybe a parent worked constantly and was very proud of their exhaustion. Maybe you learned young that your job was to be very useful and that being useful was how you earned your place and your love and your acceptance. You're not consciously running that belief now. You'd probably reject it intellectually if I asked you, but your body is still operating from it decades later. Every time you sit down on a Sunday and feel that pull to do something useful instead. So here's the first thing I'm going to offer you, and you can do it today. Start noticing where the resistance is. The next time you sit down to rest properly, not collapse on the sofa after work rest, pay attention to what shows up in your body. Is there a tightness? Is there tension somewhere in your chest, your jaw, your stomach? Is there a pull to get up and do something? Is there a thought that arrives almost immediately? I should be doing whatever comes up. I'm wasting time. I'll just quickly check. Don't try to make any of it go away. Just notice it. Observe. And then ask yourself 2 questions. What story is my body telling me right now about what will happen if I don't get up and move, take action, or do something? And just listen for what comes. The story will usually be older than your current life. It might sound like a parent's voice. It might sound like a younger version of you. And second, is that story actually true today? Not whether it was ever true, whether it's true right now in your actual life, given who you are. That is the diagnostic. It shows you in your own body where the bind is and what's underneath it. The rewiring work I do with my clients goes really deep, but what you can start practicing today on your own is teaching your system that stillness is survivable. You can start small. It's not about a meditation retreat or a digital detox. It's about giving your body short, repeated experiences of slowing down without a crisis happening. Walk to the kitchen more slowly than you usually would when you go and get a cup of tea. Just that. Notice what happens. Sit with your morning coffee or tea for 5 minutes without your phone. Just 5 minutes. Feel the cup. Taste the drink. Look at whatever's right in front of you. Try a 5-minute meditation or just 5 minutes of sitting on the sofa with your eyes closed, doing nothing other than that. What you're doing in those moments isn't just relaxing. You're teaching your nervous system through repeated experience that nothing terrible happens when you slow down, that you don't fall apart, you don't fall behind, that the world doesn't end, that you specifically are still okay. And this is how you build capacity. Slowly, the body learns through repetition. The same way it learned the original pattern, you're laying down a new track. And here's why this work actually matters, beyond the rest. When you operate from a place that isn't constantly outrunning something, your range expands, you make better decisions because you're not making them from pressure. You can hold more, bigger projects, more responsibility, more stillness, more joy, because you have a stronger foundation underneath you. The people who go furthest in the long run aren't the ones who push hardest. They're the ones with the most capacity to be present for what they're building. You can't build a meaningful life if you can't be there for it. What's the point? And that's what's actually at stake. I spent 10 years working with people on patterns like this, the ones underneath the high-functioning life that nobody really talks about, because from the outside, they look like success. I've written a book about it. It's called Unbound and it comes out in September. If you'd like to know when it's out, the link is in the description. That is all from me. Thank you for being here today.